Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible. In golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
You're listening to...
They're going to call it a hard foul. They're going to call it a hard
foul. Tuesday night, Coach. Back at TD Garden. They won the first 2 games of this series there. And defending this title, they ran into a wall, turned it over a lot more than they are accustomed to in Game 3, but they have answered the bell. Teams that go up 3-1 go on to win 96% of the time. The last team to overcome a 3-1 deficit in a best-of-7 kind of go back into the bubble here in Orlando when the Denver Nuggets took down the Clippers in the Western Conference semifinals.
All right. They're going to call it a hard foul. It's 3-1 Celtics after the Celtics split down in the Magic Kingdom. Mike, we are brought to you by the what?
Fan First Sport Network, bitch.
That's right. That's right. The Fan First Sport Network, bitch. Mike, do you want to kick us off? You want me to go? How do you want to do this today?
Oh, well, it's 2 good games in Orlando. Very competitive, physical games. Celtics leave Orlando up 3-1. That third quarter in the first game, I think, is the reason they lost the first game, where they just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, that was the worst basketball I think I've ever seen them play, this rendition of the Celtics anyways.
Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis really struggled the first 3 games of this series, and I thought one of the keys to victory last night was Joe Mazzulla's unique ways of getting KP involved in the game early, having them come off screens, pick and rolls, getting them easy looks at the basket, kind of got him going. He was able to stretch the floor a bit. And obviously, game tied at 91-91. They do an alley-oop to him out of the timeout. It's not a great pass by Tatum, but KP's able to get his own rebound and gets an and one. And the Celtics never looked back from there, Jim. Just a huge play, an important play, because this series could have gone back 2-2. But the Celtics were able to pull out a tough victory on the road.
Yeah, it was, what was it, 91 with like, under 4, right?
Yep.
And then I think Tatum himself outscored the Magic 9-7 for the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, I think, goes to show, like, if you can just score enough against this Magic team, you're going to be okay. I think I said to you last night, if you hold them under 25 points in this fourth quarter, you win the game. And they had 23 points. They had 98 for the game. So it's just a matter of the Celtics not getting caught up in the bullshit, I feel like, or slowing down and trying to do what the Magic want you to do on offense, which is to, maybe go through your first action, your second action, and which the Magic are really good at taking away, and then going into iso ball late in the shot clock. What the Celtics did a little bit last night in the fourth until the last 4 minutes when they woke up and got going again. Um, I thought Missoula did a lot of nice things yesterday in the game, especially early on to get Porzingis going. I thought having him, you know, with Derek White and the screen and roll action. You didn't really see Porzingis do that all that much during the regular season, certainly not during these first three games. And the Magic just were so concerned about his three-point shooting that it was wide open. What do you have? Two uncontested dunks and another layup, and then they ran another similar play where the ball started out with Allen, and I think it ended on a Tatum alley-oop to KP, but it got him in rhythm offensively where he was really stuck. And I think he even missed a early jumper or something early post up in that game where he still felt out of rhythm. Then the next thing you know, he's hitting a couple threes, right? Because it just he's more in rhythm. He feels a lot more comfortable. So good on Missoula. I thought there was a lot more cutting that opened things up. And the other thing that was interesting, and this happened in game three quite a bit too, Mike, is they could they're taking Tatum and they're going right up Banchero, which would not be the matchup I thought they were going to attack at the beginning of the series, but they are attacking that over and over again, and it feels like easy money a lot of times for Tatum in that matchup. That surprised me. It certainly surprised me. You pointed out in game two how good Banchero was defensively, but Tatum just had no problem going at that matchup. At all. I don't know what your thoughts on that, but I just did not see that coming.
Yeah, Jim, and I just thought that overall they were just giving Tatum one-on-one matchups, whether it was Banchero or uh, Wagner, whoever it is. It's just that's there without any help. The Magic is so dedicated to that three-point line that it's the Celtics. Tatum doing a great job, but the Celtics in general, it's really just driving to the basket with purpose early in the shot clock because there is no help at the hoop. So there's going to be points in the paint, and really Boston dominated points in the paint last night. They're getting to the free throw line a lot more than they would in the regular season. And it's forcing them to win close games. It's forcing them to win tough games. It's going to benefit them in the long run. As far as Banchero not being able to cover Tatum by himself, yeah, I'm impressed with how easily Tatum can score on him. I'm not surprised by it though. Usually there's some help there. There's somebody in the paint ready to impede Tatum's drive to the basket, and for the most part, that's not there because they're concerned about Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis hitting threes.
Yeah, he's seeing no double teams, which you never see. Teams don't do, and I know the Magic have the personnel not to do that. I wonder if they add that wrinkle in at all in Game Five. It could be playing with fire because Tatum's been so good against double teams all season long, but maybe you catch the Celtics off guard, not expecting it. Um, but no, he just dominated that matchup. And the other key last night, Mike, I think they went into halftime with 8 turnovers. They finished with 10 for the game, as opposed to the night before where they were over 20 for the game. I think it was 22, 24 the night before. In game three, they only had 2 turnovers. So there was no real terrible possessions. I know the three-point shooting was way down, but like you said, the Magic are awesome at taking that away. In fact, they only took 27 threes last night, which is just, it's hard to believe, right? It's hard to believe that's all they took. And the Magic actually shot 5 more. They shot 32. So just a nice win last night. They took what the Magic gave them. I thought offensively they were pretty good all game long. And the Magic, they just don't have enough to score with the Celtics. And that's going to be the problem in this series. As we head back to Boston. I think it's over in game five. But I will say this. If this Magic team had been healthy all season long, I think this would have been a 50-win Magic team. And I think this team is close. I really do. I think they're a piece away from being a real contender in the East. If they can get a good scoring point guard, that could make a world of difference. If they can get another superstar in there, I think it could make a world of difference, because you can just see the problems they can cause, especially on the defensive end with their switchability and their size. And a lot of the Celtics' mistakes were induced by the Celtics on Game 3, but the Magic's ability to take away their first and second action and take away the three, I think, lulled the Celtics into a lot of those mistakes. And this is a good basketball team. I think as far as the first round series goes, this is probably about as a tough a matchup as the Celtics could have gotten from a 7 seed anyways. It's a good first test. I don't think they'll face defense like this the rest of the way until the finals, if they make it there against the Thunder. But I think this is a much better Magic's team than I gave them credit for coming into the series. I knew you were higher on them, and I should have listened to you.
Yeah, I mean, they started the season 13-2, right? So, and then they got those injuries to their superstars, and then they lost Suggs and their 6-man. So, yeah, they're a good team. They're a tough team, dirty team.
Yeah,
and I think they'll be good next year if they're healthy. Going into Game 5, I think that we'll have another slugfest, and it's an opportunity for Boston to pull it out in the end, like they have in almost every game of this series. I look back to Game 3, a big play in that game that stands out to me is Peyton Pritchard driving to the basket and not getting the ball to Tatum. Jaylen Brown not being in the game. This series easily could be over right now.
yeah.
So I do expect another physical, close game in Game 5, just because unless the Magic have quit, which I don't think is in their DNA, they're going to stay in the game because the Celtics aren't going to be able to get off their three-point shots. So this is a new way of playing and winning for Boston, and it should help them in the long run.
Yeah, and I thought that it was a nice bounce-back game for Missoula, too, because I don't think Game 3 was his best. You mentioned Brown went out with about, 5-6 minutes left in the game with that fifth foul in Game 3. The Celtics, if you remember, talking about Game 3, there was a jump ball with about 3:12 left. When the Celtics had possession, they kept the jump ball and then called a timeout. At that point, Missoula elected not to put Brown in. And then there wasn't a dead ball till about 40 seconds left in the game. So Brown went several possessions in a one-possession game, and where the Celtics really came up empty over and over again offensively, including, as you said, a key turnover of Peyton Pritchard. And, the Magic were able to get the switch they want onto Porzingis with Wagner. It was just it was not a good situation for the Celtics down the stretch there, and I think it was part of it was Missoula not trusting his star with 5 fouls to go back in with 3+ minutes to go, which he should have. I thought that was a real mistake. I thought it was a mistake where he didn't challenge the foul on Brown early in that third quarter, too. The Celtics had a chance to go up 15 at the time of 14. They called a foul on Joseph when Brown went up, and Joseph was right underneath him, and Brown hit him in the face with his elbow, but it was more like his face was defending Brown's shot than Brown hitting him with an elbow. And all season long, we have seen that call overturned. So I just thought there were moments in that game where Missoula could have helped his team. He certainly wasn't the reason why the Celtics lost, but he didn't. I don't think he did enough, and I thought the adjustments he made for Game 4 were really nice.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Mike, and the other issue in these playoffs, and again, it's not the reason the Celtics won, it's not the reason the Celtics lost, but it's not just Celtics games. The officiating has really sucked throughout the league. You saw it, I thought, game 3, when they got the time wrong at the end of the game, when the Celtics, the last defensive possession, clearly had 0.7 left on the clock. They called that 8-second violation on Banchero, which wasn't even close to an 8-second violation in a very key moment of the game. That would have and the Celtics actually lost time because of that on the clock. Another 0.3, 0.4, which could have made all the difference in the world at the end. I thought Porzingis was pretty much tackled on the very last play of the game. And then you saw it in the Knicks game, Pistons game yesterday, where Tim Hardaway Jr. on the last shot of the game, the three-pointer from the corner, he looked like he was fouled to me. The refs, didn't make that call. And I feel like they're showing up in the worst way over and over again in these games. And it's really hurting the product. Not to mention, how long did the game 3 take because of all the stupid reviews and all the fouls being called? Where it felt like the refs are trying to make a concerted effort to keep the fouls even. It must have been like a 3-hour game.
Yeah, I think the refs are being reactive to the coaches and the players after the game press conferences. And I also think the players and coaches could stop bitching a little bit here.
Yeah, that's where I do appreciate Missoula.
You've seen JJ Redick do it. You've seen the coach in Orlando do it.
Mosley did it again last night. Yeah.
Yeah. You've seen Tom Thibodeau do it. You've seen now Bernie Bickerstaff has done it even before game 4. He was doing it throughout the series. It's got to stop, and I think the refs are reactive to it. The officiating hasn't been great. I thought game 3 was a disaster. It was a 3-hour game. That was the second playoff game on this playoffs now that have gone 3 hours because the refs have had so many stoppage in plays, not just in Boston, but
it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of that game where Tatum called the timeout, it was clearly more time. And I don't understand why they couldn't fix that when they knew it was wrong. That, to me, that was just bizarre.
Well, they didn't. I guess it's in the rule book. You can't, and they didn't know it was wrong. And that's like the thing. I get the whole you should be able to review, but it's also the referee's responsibility to know how much time's left on that timeout. Like that's something you huddle up for before the play, or whatever you get a stoppage. Someone's pointing at one ref. You got the time. You got the time, right? And that's something you have to get right. It's not like someone could say, "Oh, that's really hard to do." No, it's their fucking job. And that's an important aspect of it. That's something that gets drilled into you as an official to know the time. And they just relied on the scorekeeper. Huge mistake.
Yeah, you can't rely on the home team scorekeeper.
Well, it's actually it's neutral in the playoffs, but either way. You shouldn't rely.
I find that funny, and I also thought it was funny, like with the 8-second violation, there was so much time that came off the clock, and
Yeah.
good job by the scorekeepers in Orlando for their home team. Show that Boston has done stuff like that in the past. So
It's actually we need to be fair. It's not an Orlando score, so the NBA brings in like somebody to do it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, at the end of the day, as bad as the officiating was, the Celtics lost that game
Oh,
because
sure.
they slowed their offense down. They didn't run any offense in the third quarter. They were dribbling the ball around half court. 20 turnovers they had in that game. Um, Guys weren't making open threes. That's been a little bit of an issue in Orlando. Nobody was really making their open looks, especially from the corner. They're missing layups. Um, so they lost. They got out executed and they lost. And last night they were able to pull it out. And that's the good test for this series in Boston is that they're being forced to play in close games. One thing I'd like to see from the Celtics in Game 5 is when they get a lead, not to let it go. They had a lot of opportunities last night to extend the lead, and they really never did. Continued to let Orlando come back, whether it would be coming down and turning the ball over, and a lot of those turnovers weren't forced, or committing a bad foul and putting Orlando to the line. So um, that's one thing the Celtics could clean up in Game 5 if they can extend the lead. It's definitely not going to get close because that's usually when you see NBA teams give up. So that's what I would like to see when they get that lead in Game 5 to keep it going.
Yeah, and the turnovers weren't a problem last night. Like I said, I think there was only two in the second half. I think give Orlando credit too because they just have two guys that really can get to their spot and score and be run stoppers.
Yeah.
And I wonder if in some of these instances, especially if there's only one on the floor, if you get on a like 9-0 run and Orlando calls a timeout, maybe you throw a trap on Banchero early on to try to get the ball out of his hands, even if you give up an open shot to a Wendell Carter or a KCP, to try to get anyone else to shoot it in those instances other than him or Wagner, because they really do. They get to their spot, they're able to create space, and they make shots. Like they're really good. Except for when Wagner's, is it me or is his um shot different when he shoots a three? It's like it's
But
a hitch in it when he's at mid range, it feels like very smooth and in rhythm, but his 3-point shot, it's like he adds a hitch to it. It's really weird.
it's awful. He's at 17% for the series.
Yeah, like let him keep shooting. I think I wouldn't even get out on him right now, from out there. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of his game and Banchero's game that's really inconsistent. If they can ever, fully develop that 3-point shot, um, watch out for those two because the way they get to the bat, the way that Wagner finishes at the hoop is pretty impressive.
oh, it's excellent. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
excellent. And from weird angles too. And I'd be thinking, no, this is pretty good defense, and he finishes it. Like they've scored on good defense consistently. They're good players. Mike, did you hear what Missoula said before the game when he was asked about the fouls and Orlando going over the line?
Yeah, it was like the police aren't coming or something.
Yeah,
Nobody got arrested.
no one's been arrested.
Yeah.
I just love that he brushes it off and like, I don't care, let's play basketball. Um, there's no bitching about it at all. The only bitch I've heard him make about the officiating was adding more time at the end of the game, which was obviously a legitimate beef. Um, yeah, Mike, does this end in five?
I think it does. Yeah, I think that the Knicks and Pistons end in 5 too. So, we can start thinking about that next series. So I think it's right around the corner.
Yeah, yeah, that could end in five. I don't think the Pistons are going to lie down. I don't think the Magic are going to lie down either. So both the Celtics and Knicks better be ready to go because I think those two teams. I don't think there's quit in them. But they certainly both series can end in five. I think they both will. Um, that Robinson Towns lineup that Tibbs throws out there is pretty interesting, and it's caused some problems. It caused some problems for Boston when I first saw it, and I wonder if they implement that a bit more during the series. Obviously, it hinders you some offensively, but it creates a lot more offensive rebounds. And defensively, I think it helps Towns quite a bit
Yeah.
to have Robinson out there. I don't think the Pistons have attacked Towns enough in this series. And it gets maybe to your Bernie Bickerstaff not being a good coach that you've been on. I thought there was one real huge mistake in the game last night by Bernie Bickerstaff. It's 40 seconds to go. The Pistons down a possession and they call a timeout.
Yeah.
And what do the Knicks do? They take Brunson and they take Towns out.
Yeah, and they get their defense in game.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, no, you got Kate Cunningham. Just go, run a screen, and just have him attack Towns. I have him attack Brunson, who's clearly hobbled on the defensive end. You're going to get a great look, and instead they turned it over and allowed them to set it up. I mean, what the Knicks probably would have done is they had a foul to give, and they probably would have taken the foul and made the subs, but good. Because now they need to play defense completely honest without fouling in that situation. So
Right.
I thought coaching really hurt the Pistons down the end of that game. And I like Bernie Bickerstaff better than you have, but that was just a huge, huge coaching error.
Got screwed too. The Pistons got screwed.
Oh yeah,
And
at the end of the
that's a
game.
foul to end that game. I don't know how you don't make that call.
Same official, Mike. Did you know that from the Celtics game? Same lead official.
Yeah, it's pretty bad miss there. And then after the game, they admitted that they were wrong. And I don't know how you miss it. I really don't know how you
He was
miss
right
that
there.
call.
He was
Yeah,
right there. Yeah, and that idiot Bobby Marks who works for ESPN, he's like, "Oh, that was there's no way he could have seen it from that angle. That was, and I'm looking, I'm like, yes, he's absolutely can see it from that angle. And if he can't, again, it's his job to move a step. So he can see it from that angle. Like if he's not able to, then that's his screw up.
yeah.
And
That
then
was a bad miss call.
it was, and you can't run into someone's side on a jump shot.
It hurts the Celtics because you have an advantage there if that series goes seven.
Yeah.
Oh, that was tough. I was
I
really
don't, I
hoping.
don't, I don't think the Celtics need many advantages against the Knicks. So that's I don't think the Knicks are playing better, and it could be a somewhat competitive series. But when I say somewhat competitive, maybe five. I just don't think this Knicks team matches up against the Celtics whatsoever. The Magic match up better against the Celtics than the Knicks do.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure that the league really wants a 6 or 7 game series, though. So it'll be interesting to see how it gets officiated if Boston goes up 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a factor in the playoffs. Doesn't give the Knicks a real chance to win the series, but gives them a chance to go six if it's 40-10 at the free throw line when we're in New York. So
Yeah, and the calls that Brunson gets, and he's gotten them in this Piston series, are just stupid.
ridiculous.
He plays like Embiid.
He is. I've been saying that. I've been saying that since last year.
And he doesn't have to either. That's the part that like drives me crazy. You don't have to play that way. And the refs reward him. Yeah, so
My other thing with the Knicks is I don't know if Brunson has it to make it through another physical series. We'll see. He seems to get banged up a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be concerned about him being available in a deep series against the Celtics. So
Well,
we'll see.
I wonder if the Celtics play Holiday Tuesday night because
Well, that was my next question. What's your concern level with him?
I don't know. Like I don't know.
Hamstring can be bad.
Yeah. And he was so good in that last Knicks game on Brunson and just overall that I think having him available and healthy is much more important next round than in this round. Um, so I wonder if he goes if he's even if he's just 80%, I wonder if they rest him again on Tuesday night and hope to get him back and healthy for this next round. Because even if the Pistons ever came back, you would need him against either of these teams.
Yeah.
He's much more key in this next round than in this. I mean, there really isn't a guard on the Magic that you worry about, and he helps with Banchero and Wagner, but they can still score over the top of him. So it really doesn't matter that much. But next round it certainly does. Hey, any other intriguing playoff storylines from around the league that you want to hit on before we jump off?
Oh, that Aaron Gordon buzzer beater was unbelievable.
That series is unreal.
Yeah.
There's no series even close to that right now.
Yeah.
That series is awesome. It's just great basketball.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference kind of sucks as far as series goes. I mean, they're all over. Indiana's going to finish up this in the next game. Miami's going to get swept. Yeah, Dame's done. He could be done for a long time. Milwaukee's going to have to make some tough decisions. Yeah, so
I wonder if Giannis is on the market this summer.
Yeah, I would think so.
You wonder if Giannis, and I wonder if this Orlando team led by a package of Franz Wagner is one of the teams that are going to be calling.
So there'll be a lot of teams.
OKC's, the Rockets. Yeah.
OKC's got a lot of space, cap space, and draft picks.
Well, you gotta have a star. So it'd be like Holmgren, and then you compound the pieces around that, or someone of that level. I think you'd have to give the Bucks.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I do you think do you give Indiana a shot against Cleveland? I think that could be a really good series.
I think it's gonna. So I feel the same way if the Clippers get by the Nuggets. I don't think the Nuggets will give the Thunder much trouble, but I think the Clippers could give the Thunder a really good series, 6 or 7. And I feel the same way about the Pacers. The Pacers, they're kind of made for playoff basketball, and it's weird because if this was 10, 15 years ago, you would say how they play doesn't work, but it does in today's game. They just play so fast. They're good enough defensively. They're good enough on the glass. They're good on the offensive glass. They're very creative. Rick Carlisle, for the most part, with maybe the exception of last year's Celtics series, is really good at using his timeouts and understanding the flow of the games and hitting the right buttons on substitutions. I think they could. And I don't think they match up that poorly against the Cavs. I think the Cavs are better and will win the series for sure. I'd be surprised if the Pacers were able to eke it out, but I could see it going 6 or 7. And I would tell you the same thing if the Pacers are playing the Celtics. I think it would be a 6 or 7 game series. I really do. I just think they're that type of team. It should have been last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was the hottest sweep I've ever seen.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It'd definitely be interesting. I mean, for the first round, I guess it's really just one series that's left that could be competitive. So we'll see, Jim. We got a big game coming up this week. Hopefully the Celtics can end the series, and we'll stop breaking down most likely the Knicks.
All right. Talk to everyone soon.
See ya.